Peace. Assalamu alaikum. What's happening, Jihad?
Peace. Oh, let's unmute the brother. It's good to see you again, man. Welcome.
Yes, indeed. Assalamu alaikum, brothers. How are y'all?
Wa alaikum salam. How you doing, Doc? Everything good?
Yes, I'm good. Ready for another super busy day. Very good. And I appreciate you inviting me on the program. I'm always honored. Super valuable.
What kind of brothers will we be if we don't have you on here talking about the business?
I'm telling you now.
Know what I mean?
Right on.
And I gave you a bootleg introduction. You know what I'm saying? My apologies. You know,
I thought that was right on.
Word. Definitely salute to you. And also our brother Ashanti Austin, who was your co-defendant, if I'm not mistaken.
That is
you know
right.
What I mean? You know, if you don't mind, real quick for folks who are unaware, when I say co-defendant, can you give them a little quick, rundown of of your particular case as far as, and then we want to get into political prisoners as a whole, and of course the main business I brought you on here for.
Right. Yes, indeed. And again, thank you, brothers. Yeah, I'm from Plainfield, New Jersey, and Ashanti Austin was my comrade. We started the Black Panther Party office in Plainfield right around 1970, I think. And we had a very big chapter. We had, free breakfast program. We built a medical clinic from the ground up, sold Black Panther Party newspapers, addressed the drug problems, as far as the heroin thing. We had a strong position against that on the Panther Party, death to the pusher. That's some hard talk, death to the pig, death to the pusher. And that was a really serious position that we have taken on that level of narcotics in our community. And we see the debilitating effects of it even today. And so, we had numerous charges together, Ashanti and I, bank robbery charges, and we ended up going to prison together. And now we're home, and we're both members of the National Jericho Movement to Free All Political Prisoners. So that's our script. A lot of paramilitary work on the ground for us, a lot of political action on the ground. We went hot and heavy into the fray, guns in hand, taking it to the level that we had to back in those days, and defending our community and stepping right to the forces that would bring us physical harm.
No doubt. And I wanted to give that precursor because of the fact that sometimes, man, we got to remind folks, don't let the smooth taste fool you. You know what I'm saying? Because of the fact that one thing that we know being in our people's liberation movement, oftentimes, if you ain't just, you're not somebody that's just extra rowdy or whatever the case is, or whatever, if your name's not on lights, then they assume that you just say, a meek, calm cats. But that's what suckers do in the streets. You know what I mean? They sleep on folks who they should be woke with, and the folks that's making the noise, they think they the real poppers. So I just wanted to get it started with that. For folks who are new to because of the fact that the one beautiful thing we have here is a very broad audience, and we have new listeners every day. Some of them are apolitical, and some of them may have just heard about it. They might have heard about an interview we did. You know what I mean? So in your words, being a representative of the Jericho movement, man, explain to folks what a political prisoner is.
Jericho movement represents all political prisoners, and we recognize the fact that you could say, in a general sense, any case involving a person of African descent in this country is political in nature because of the racist nature of the judicial system. Not saying that you didn't actually jack that brother or do something reprehensible that you should not have done in our community, but the process that you go through is political in a sense, even when you're guilty as heck. So we recognize that. But when we talk about political prisoners, we're talking about those individuals that are incarcerated, captured, or whatever, because of their political activism, their revolutionary activism, regardless if they did something or didn't, because and we don't focus on the guilt or innocent of a matter. So there are some of our political prisoners, our freedom fighters, that are innocent. Imam Jamil Al-Amin, Mumia Abu Jamal, Leonard Peltier, but there are some that put their work in. And we support all of them because we champion struggles and freedom fighters and all around the world throughout history. Somehow or another, when it comes to right here in the shores of the United States, we're kind of squeamish. Did you do that? So we we have to deal with that cognitive dissonance in our own thinking about how we approach liberation. But when we talk about political prisoners, we talk about individuals that are in prison because of their struggles and their ideology, their conscious efforts to deconstruct capitalism and to build a new society for people.
True indeed. Everything's political. You know what I mean?
Everything's political for sure.
Yeah. The fact that we even speak in English is a political result of politics.
English. You're speaking very clear, brother.
Hey man, look here, man. I'm gonna have to put some.
Jared is really talking really.
Now Jared's the professor. I'm the derelict. Don't worry about it. Anyway, see how you go bust shots at us real quick, Jay.
I mean, it's all good. Hey, just real quick, you know, by the way, Jihad, I just want to say my own personal, you know, hello again, and invite just publicly, anytime you want to recreate the segment that we had been doing on another platform some years ago back in the day, that routine visit of you're welcome here, because the not only the history you just briefly outlined, but your consistent work with continuing those continuing behind the bars as political prisoners is essential. But just quickly, I don't know. We don't have a lot of time. Don't spend too much time here. But you mentioned that the death to the pigs we hear associated with these politics routinely, but not so often this challenge to the pusher, who is often glorified in our culture, not through our own choice or by our own design necessarily. But I'm just wondering if you could elaborate on that and where you think that wing of the struggle should be today, if any of that has changed given the so-called war on drugs, et cetera, and so forth. But I don't know, that stood out to me when you mentioned that a minute ago.
Yes, we ended up taking, because, you know, really behind, you know, the whole thing is educated community, get into a community as an organization, as a force presence, for example, just giving you a scenario, you know, get into a community, develop programs that tended to the needs of the community, food, clothing, shelter, protection, well-being and wellness and things of that nature. And then you begin to, after a while, flex your muscle to begin to address the more aggressive negative elements in the community that feed on itself. And it takes a little type of muscle to do that. And it's not a peaceful walk in the park. You have to be ready to represent. And so that is actually the strategy. So you take a neighborhood like Kensington, you know, that open drug market, or South Bronx, or anywhere in South Central where there's a lot of drugs and deterioration of the community, then, you know, it's going to take, you know, strategically a strong, robust organization of sisters and brothers, therapists, engineers, doctors, and street brothers that got courage in their heart to be able to step to people. I know in Lewisburg Federal Penitentiary, when I got there, you know, there were plenty of rapes. It was scary. I was 145 pounds. Ashanti and I were both in our early 20s. The age limit was like 27 or something of that nature. It's like, oh my God, skinny as I am. But before I left, 20-some years later, we had stopped all the rapes because we was able to organize our fellow prisoners, educate them, and come to agreements with all the street formations and all the geographical entities that existed there, and make an agreement that there will be no more rapes. And this was done through education. So when somebody asked me about that, they said, man, y'all did a phenomenal job. But I can tell you one thing, behind the scene, if you did do that, you're done. Now, people don't realize that, but you rape somebody, you're done, man. Okay. And I mean it. So yeah, there's the education component, and people generally 90% of the time agree with that. You know, they acquiesce to that. We're building and development, but if you don't have a steel arm behind you to really represent, it's not going to work. You got to represent and protect your freedom. You got to represent and protect your gains. A lot of times people don't want to reconcile with that, don't even know how to deal with that. But I'm telling you right now, that's the real deal. We can't protect our systems. We can't protect our freedoms. We can't protect our gains. We're going to lose them. So that's right. A part that's not necessarily openly strategically developed, but it has to be developed and it has to be there. Otherwise, you're above ground. If I can use that terminology, your gains in community organizing, your programs and structures, you'll be relying on the police.
That's right. That's right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Jihad,
that's the deal. That's the deal.
I'm so happy that you addressed that because of the fact that, you know, folks deal with this like it's an either or. You know what I'm saying? You ain't a revolution is not a like Miles said, a tea party. You ain't gonna talk your way out of this. You know what I'm saying? And I think that we get that part confused. And we also have to recognize that when we're talking about this, we have to deal with the primary and secondary predators. You understand what I'm saying? The primary predators being the state, and the secondary predators being the product of the nigger machine that the state created. You know what I'm saying? So until we able to deal with both of them, we just Putin in the wind. And it sounds good in theory, but in practice, we'll be in the conditions that we're in right now. So I appreciate dearly, you know what I'm saying, you pointing it out, because you said it all smooth and relaxed, that some folks gonna have to rewind to hear what you said. But anyway, speaking of OGs, right? We have our main man, Rouchell Magee, coming up for parole. You know what I'm saying? We brought you on here because of the fact that we understand that there's a petition going on. But if you can, real quick, give folks a breakdown of who Ruchell Magee is and why he's the longest held political prisoner here in the United States currently.
Yeah, Ruchell Magee is around 82 years old, the same as Sundiata Kohli. I believe he caught his case, original case, some marijuana thing went sour, and he got a ridiculous sentence of something to life, 7 to life, or whatever the case. I'm trying to pull it out my brain now. And almost like George Jackson, you know, simple gas station robbery. Now he gets 10 to life or whatever he received. There's this life thing that California gives, allows the system to keep you there forever for the most minuscule, insignificant, or maybe a charge that you actually didn't even commit. And then in 1970, August the 7th, he was involved in the Marin County takeover with Jonathan Jackson, even though he was acquitted for those charges. Because of that political action there, now he's been in prison, sister's brother, for 58 years. So 58 years minus the 7 from 1963, but that's 51 years behind something that he's not convicted for. And so now he has the unique opportunity to go from the parole board this Thursday, July the 15th. And even if he's released, we can always say justice delayed is justice denied, but we're calling on everybody. There's an organization that sent out a word, Coalition to Free Ruchell Magee. The Coalition to Free Ruchell Magee sent word out. Jericho was able to pick that up, and we sent it out to over 700 people already, And I just got to say this is some serious, depressing stuff. All right. The issue of political prison, Ruchell Magee is a political prison because he's there because of the politics of his situation. The politics of his situation has him there for 5 decades. Now, even when you talk about other political prisoners, even the celebrated ones, Mumia Abu Jamal and Peltier, Imam Jamil Al-Amin, when you even talk about them, our sisters and brothers in this country are not on their job. We sent that out to 700 people, and that's just Jericho. And this coalition, I'm sure, sent it out to many, many, many more people. And I looked on the website. When I signed that letter, there's a letter that's already there. You can tweak it, or you can just sign your name to it and send it off, and it clocks you that the numbers that you sent in, and you get a response there. So they have a pretty good system to show that type of support. Those letters going to the governor and the parole board like that, And I looked today, it was 69 letters.
What?
69 letters. There's the information there. Thank you. And so, I'm concerned. So the whole issue of political prisoners doesn't really resonate in the psychic of the American people, because America is able to create a narrative that prisons are separate and distinct, and that's where criminals are. And they may be in our own communities. You don't have a loved one in prison, then that structure is almost like in another universe. It's another world. And there's so many prisons, and they keep us so isolated psychologically in the minds of the people. And when you talk about political prisoners, it's that look in the people's face, like a deer looking on oncoming headlights, incredulously looking at, what are you talking about? How can it be political prisoners? You must have done something. You're in prison. So even recognizing the racial nature of this, the racist nature of the judicial system, recognizing that people are incarcerated, including up to date with the Black Lives Matter movement, it's just a big major disconnect. So and that's why maybe in another program we're doing this tribunal to deal with other issues, to show that our freedom fighters are in prison because of the same issues that we face today. So, conceivably, if somebody in Black Lives Matter gets arrested for throwing a Molotov cocktail or something like that, the state knows that you're not going to support that person. They're going to go get their 10 years and you will never hear of them again. And
right.
this is so unfortunate so the fact that real revolutionary struggle, real struggle is not really consciously done, it's emotionally done in this country. We're emotionally responded to the virulent violence of the police state, our dilapidated condition that we live in. We're emotionally responded to that. And that's why the minute somebody thinks that or feels or actually is doing a little better income-wise, job-wise, bought a house, got this and like, they're gone. Because we don't really understand the true nature of revolution and why there has to be a thinking involved to principally move us forward. Not just emotions fuel the energies a lot of times. Yeah, we need that adrenaline rush, but the sustainability of it, the understanding of it, the thoroughness of it, the legitimacy of it, the authenticity of it all, you know, has to be ideologically. You have to understand why you're doing what you're doing. And that understanding is not there. And just want to say the last thing, I know time is of the essence. You know, there's a little irony going on here because it's only your human nature that you want to do better in life, get a better job, get a better income, do this, get a better car, get a better house. But actually, when you do that, which you should do that, but when you do it unconsciously without any revolutionary ideology or thinking or involved in it, you become much more invested in the capitalist system, and you're not too likely to do too much against it. You're more likely to ascribe to the thinking and the narrative that they give you. Unwittingly, you are. The more you become invested. So the guy, I'm looking out my window, that guy that has that 4-bedroom house and that manicured lawn in my neighborhood right now, I don't expect too much from him in terms of any movement, because however he got there, he takes pride in that. So he's not going anywhere down south to free any land, to live on any farm. You can't even get him to do that. And those people that do that, a lot of them, you know, if they did better, they wouldn't be there neither. All due respect to everybody involved, but I'm just calling it. I went to prison for this stuff. I joined the Panthers when I was 16. I'm 66 years old, 67 this year, and we haven't even bought a house.
Look here, brother.
Yes, to me. So when we talk about free, so we send out 700 responses and get about 20. That says a lot, man. That says a lot. And, you know, it says a lot who's really in tune with it about what we should do and who, I mean, how many times you have to tell somebody just hit a simple link and add your name to it. How much time does that take?
I don't even.
This is real talk.
I don't even understand it. I signed it last night, and I thought that it was at least 700 or so at that point. But I mean, damn. So we for the folks that's in the listening audience, tell them how can they hit that link, because of the fact that we need everybody that's listening, everybody that's viewing us right now. This is Ruchell Magee. Jihad said that Ruchell was in prison for 5 decades. I want to correct him because of the fact that if he's in there 58, it's close to 6 decades that the brother's been on lock. Now, indeed. I mean, he's been locked up 8 years before I was even born. You understand what I'm saying? So this is for all practical purposes bullshit. You know what I'm saying? The man's 82 years old. Him, Sundiata Kohli, and some others. This old. This is the age of many of your grandparents and some of your great grandparents. And here it is. We're talking about all that's being asked at a minimum is to hit a link and say, look, you know, this man should be released. I mean, this is outrageous. So please, Jihad, tell us.
Just go on the website. Yeah, go on the website and coalition to free Rouchelle McGee. Simple as that. And they'll pop up what you need to do. Coalition. And, you know, I just want to say something about this too. That coalition, whoever they are, mind you, quote unquote, whoever they are, they're doing a stellar job, an admirable job, but it's a missing opportunity for network building when we don't know exactly who you are. Because this, not only is it just Rouchelle McGee, and his pro hearing will be over and win, lose, or die, or however it goes on Thursday, but that entity, does it evaporate? So we got to take, this is just a constructive criticism, and this really is done in such a respectful, lovable way. We got to seize the time with each other. We got to talk to each other. You can't just send out an email. We got to make this work and make it become alive to each other, you know, so it can't be just situational. We have to move with the situations and with a constructive strategic building to get to another level. Otherwise, just situation, another rally for Mumia, this and that. Come on, man. God,
and we can't get them out. I want you all to know, because of the fact that there was a time and you could attest to this, Jihad, where there were hardly any PPs coming up out of the joint. And then over the past few years, you've had some of them, many of who we had on the show here, Jalil Mutakeen. We've had Sekou on here, Daruba, and you know what I'm saying.
Back in the day, we had Eddie on. Conway on.
Right. Indeed. So,
members of the Africa family.
Yeah, and under the backdrop of Black Lives Matter, and this was significant. Now people more, plus the age limit. Okay, the age holding brothers and sisters in prison. Black Lives Matter movement, the awakening of liberal society around issues of race, which is real to that level. You know, people that didn't really pay it no mind, now they are on your job and this and that. That's a good thing. So how are we going to capitalize on it and take it to another level now that this under the gruesome assassination of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor, you know, how are we going to seize the moment and take it to another level now that this conscious awakening, you know, people more, this is an opportunity for this brother to be free. It is as simple as that. We're going to respond to it or we're not.
In the chat room, our folks are already signing the petition. You know what I mean, and our folks are dedicated. And as Jared mentioned earlier, you know, you have an open platform here. You know what I mean. So we're waiting for you now. We're gonna put it back in your hands. You know how we do this thing. You know what I'm saying? You challenge us, now we're gonna challenge you to come up with a show dealing with political prisoners, so that we can go ahead and make sure that if nowhere else, that right here at Black Power Media, there's a platform. We have 10,000 subscribers right now, and we're steadily growing. You know what I mean? So we're looking for you right now because of the fact that we ain't call you on here because we like your kufi and your shirt. You know what I'm saying? You know, this is a call right here, man. So let's
definitely that energy though, man. Appreciate you, man.
Yes,
thank you very much.
I appreciate y'all, and I take you up. I'm very honored to respond to that call. Thank y'all so much, and thank you, listening audience. And I only meant to say thanks to bring us more in focus and to help out. So I appreciate everybody. Thank you.
Right on.
And tell Ashanti to stop hiding, man. He's supposed to be coming.
I know, man. I know. Tell him to come on out that shell. I'll talk to him today.
He's somewhere leading 10,000 white anarchists.
Yeah.
To the UN or something. You know what I'm saying? But we'll talk about that on another show. Anyway, definitely, brother. We appreciate you coming on, man. And you know, free Ruchell Magee. The cause, free them all.
Free them all.
No doubt, brother. Right. Be safe.
Thank you very much. Take care now. Peace.
Peace.